29ers have undergone a dramatic transformation over the last few years, and there's now a bumper crop of extremely capable options on the market from nearly every manufacturer. Components have caught up as well, and stiff wheels, wide tires, and long travel forks are now readily available. It can be overwhelming trying to sort through all of the options, which is why we've assembled this roundup of worthwhile contenders. All of the included bikes are designed for all mountain enduro riding, and they all have at least 140 millimeters of travel. Of course, these aren't the only options out there, but they're all bikes that we've spent extensive time on over the last year or so, and are a good representation of what's currently on the market. The Sentinel is Transition's first long-travel 29er, and the Bellingham, Washington-based company didn't hold back when coming up with the numbers for this beast. It may only have 140 millimeters of rear travel, but don't be fooled, the Sentinel is designed with a very strong emphasis on descending. Transition revamped their geometry this year, and in addition to giving the Sentinel a slack, 64-degree head angle, they also spec'd it with a reduced offset fork. The bike handles just fine with a regular offset fork, but with the reduced offset it gains even more stability and front-wheel traction. Let the Sentinel loose on steep, rough terrain and it comes alive, with no discernible upper speed limit, and loads of grip. Transition Sentinel details intended use all mountain enduro travel 140 mm rear 160 mm front wheel size 29 aluminum frame 64 degrees head angle 435 mm chainstays boost spacing front and rear sizes S, M, L, XL weight 32 pounds size L price $4,999 USD www.transitionbikes.com. It's not the lightest option out there, especially compared to some of the high-end carbon bikes in this category, and it's not the bike to pick if you're looking for a lively all-rounder. On the flip side, for riders looking for something that can take on burly downhill runs, won't hold you back in the bike park, and can still be comfortably pedaled to the top of any climb, put the Sentinel on your short list. Transition Sentinel Full Review Progressive Geometry. One of the best descendings 29ers around, holds a water bottle, not the lightest option. 2.3 tires are on the narrow side given the bike's capabilities. Chain slap protector is a little short. Weight is still a relative newcomer in the North American market, but if the British brand keeps cranking out bikes like the S150C, they shouldn't have any trouble attracting loyal fans. As the name implies, the S150 has 150 mm travel, with a carbon front triangle and an alloy swing arm. There's also a full aluminum version available. The overall frame design of the S150 isn't a radical departure from what's already out there, but the geometry is decidedly new school, with a generous reach, and a reduced offset fork to go along with the 65.6-degree head angle. As RC wrote in his review, Whites delve into the relationship of fork offset and head angles pay dividends at any speed and in all situations when riding the S150. The handlebar feels weighted just enough to feel connected with the bike, and it clearly communicates where the front wheel is and what the tire's contact patch is doing. White S150 use Trail Ale mountain chassis, carbon front section, aluminum, 150 mm 4-bar suspension. Internal cable routing. Boost axle spacing, wheel size 29 standard, 27.5 compatible fork, RockShox Pike RC, 150 mm stroke, custom 42 mm offset sizes, medium reviewed, large, X large weight 29.14 pounds, 13.25 kilograms, medium MSRP $4,799. Contact you White. USA, White despite the long and slack geometry, the S150 isn't a one-trick downhill pony. It's a comfortable climber and remains enjoyable even on mellower terrain. White S150 Full Review. Modern geometry creates excellent handling, good value, considering price versus performance. Guide. Our brakes aren't the best. 760 mm bars may be too narrow for some riders. Crossmark rear tire isn't the ideal choice before the Hightower LT even officially existed. Riders of the original Hightower were coming up with ways to eke a little extra rear travel out of their bikes. Santa Cruz recognized the demand for a longer travel Hightower, and the LT version was born, with 150 mm of rear travel paired with a 150 mm fork up front. It's not a radical departure from the OG Hightower, it's the shock link and rear swing arm that differentiate the two, and it handles very similarly to the original, but that extra cushion helps take the edge off of bigger hits and makes it easier to open it up a little more on rough terrain. The Hightower LT's pedaling performance is excellent, making it an ideal choice for riders looking for an all-rounder, a bike that can handle just about any type of terrain, with a very natural, balanced feel that should suit a wide range of riding styles. However, it does ride a little more like a long-limb trail bike than a full-blown enduro race rig. If EWS domination is in your game plan, there are stiffer and slacker bikes out there that would be better picks. There's also the fact that the seat angle is on the slacker side of the spectrum. Taller riders may find themselves sitting further over that rear wheel than they'd like. Santa Cruz Hightower LT details intended use: all mountain enduro wheel, size 29, rear wheel travel 150 mm 66, fourth head angle, full carbon frame, C or CC options, boost hub spacing, size S, M, L, XL, XXL, MSRP $3,949, $9,249 USD, shown weight 29 pounds 13.15 kilograms, size large. www.santacruzbicycles.com. Excellent pedaling characteristics, versatile, well-rounded performer. Seat angle could be steeper, feels more like a long travel trail bike. The new Slash is a purebred enduro race machine, with a stiff carbon frame, 150 mm of travel, and a slack 65-degree head angle when it's set up with a 160 mm fork. This isn't a bike for timid riders, or for cruising on mellow terrain, but for aggressive riders who aren't afraid to let off the brakes. The Slash delivers a wicked good time. There's plenty of tire clearance, which is good news for riders interested in experimenting with the 2.5 and 2.6 options that have been popping up recently, and there's also plenty of room to fit a full-size water bottle inside the front triangle. For taller riders, the Slash's seat angle may be too slack, and fans of bar spins are out of luck. Trek's knock block frame design prevents the bars from spinning all the way around. Trek Slash details intended use: all mountain enduro race, rear wheel travel 150 mm, wheel size 29, carbon fiber frame, BB92, bottom bracket sizes 15.5, 17.5, 19.5, 21.5, weight size 19.5, 29.75 pounds 13.49 kilograms, MSRP $8,000 USD, $3,700, frame only. www.trekbikes.com. For 2018, the Slash comes SPECD with a shock that employs Trek's new thrust-shaft design, which they claim creates a more responsive ride. We have one on the way to see if those claims hold true, but otherwise the geometry remains the same, and the Slash will continue on as one of the best big mountain brawlers out there. Trek Slash. Full review: stiff frame, unflinching at speed, excellent race bike. Seat angle may be too slack for taller riders, expensive as frame only. Bontrager dropper post. The Enduro 29 deserves a good portion of the credit for ushering in the age of the long travel 29er when it debuted back in 2013, showing that big wheel weren't just for cross-country bikes. The Enduro received a geometry revision for 2017, which entailed steepening the seat angle, slackening the head tube angle, and lengthening the chainstays a touch. For 2017, those figures have been tweaked again, and the upcoming model has a longer reach, 462 mm for a size large, along with the ability to choose between a 66 or 65.5 degree head angle. The Enduro has the most rear travel out of any of the bikes mentioned here, but, remarkably, it's more of an all-rounder than a pedalable DH bike. It's not as bob-free as the Hightower, but it's still a calm climber, and there's plenty of traction for keeping the rear wheel stuck to the ground on more technical ascents. When it does come time to descend, that 165 mm of travel delivers a grin-inducing good time, and a very plush ride. Specialized Enduro 29 details intended use: all mountain enduro travel 165 mm, 29 wheels, full carbon frame, 66 degrees head angle, 432 mm, chainstays 12 by 148 mm, rear spacing sizes S, M, L, XL, weight size L, 29.5 pounds 13.4 kilograms, colors graphite black, hyper red, price $8,500 USD, $3,500, frame only. www.specialized.com. Very manageable, especially for a 165 mm 29er. SWAT box provides room to carry snacks without a pack. IBB on 2017 model, updated for 2018. Short dropper post length. New Woo dropper may help with these if you were to go purely off the Jetty SB5's geometry numbers. It'd be easy to categorize it as a trail bike. After all, the 66.5 degree head angle isn't super slack, the 445 mm reach for a size large isn't super long, and with 140 mm of rear travel, the trail bike designation seems entirely appropriate. That is, until you let this wolf in sheep's clothing out onto the trails. The speed that it can carry is uncanny, and every test rider that swung a leg over the blue machine walked away impressed with just how fast and composed it felt. It may not be the snappiest climber around, but the SB 5.5 will still scramble up pretty much anything without much fuss, aided in part by its impressively low weight. The version we reviewed was SPECD with a Flock Float X shock, while the current model now has a Fox Float DPX2, which should only improve on an already excellent ride. The biggest downside is the location of the sole water bottle mount. It's directly in the line of fire on the underside of the down tube. Yeti SB 5.5 details intended use: all mountain enduro wheel size 29, rear wheel travel 140 mm, 66.5 degrees head angle, carbon fiber frame, BB92 bottom bracket, sizes M, L, XL, weight size large 28.5 pounds, 12.9 kilograms, MSRP $7,095 USD as shown, $3,500 frame only, www.yeticycles.com. The 5.5 isn't quite as plush as the Trek/or Specialized Enduro 29, but it still has a very solid, unflappable feeling at speed. There's also a liveliness to its handling that differentiates it from the Sentinel and the Pole Evolink, the other two 140mm 29ers in this roundup. Yeti SB 5.5 full review: low weight, very quiet, extremely fast, poor water bottle mounting location. The term longer, the lower, slacker has become an overused cliche, right up there with game-changing and confidence-inspiring, but the Pole Evolink 140 truly is longer and slacker than just about anything on the market, especially when it comes to 29ers. As longer reach numbers and slacker head angles become the norm, the Evolink 140's numbers are starting to look less radical, but we're still a few seasons away from numbers like this becoming standard, if they ever do. With a 510mm reach for a size large, a 64-degree head angle, and a 456mm chainstay length, the Evolink 140's dimensions are immense, and if spending all day working your way down super tight switchback is your thing, you'll want to look elsewhere. The Pole falls into a similar category as the Transition Sentinel and the Trek/. These are bikes that need to be fed a steady diet of rowdiness to remain happy. Manualing and whipping through tight, consecutive corners aren't its strong suits, but those are easy to overlook given the stability and grip that this aluminum limousine delivers. Pole Evolink 140 details intended use: trail, enduro travel 140mm 29 wheels, 64 degrees head angle, 456mm chainstay, 142mm or 148mm rear, hub spacing 7005 T6 alloy frame, Evolink suspension system sizes XS, S, M, L, frame weight 3.9 kilograms, Inc shock, axle, headset, seat clamp, size large, actual price €2,450, frame, Inc shock, axle, headset, www.polebicycles.com. Progressive geometry, extremely stable. 2 water bottle mounts, difficult to manual. Quick direction changes aren't its strong suit. On the heavier side of things, which one should I pick? If you've made it this far, you've undoubtedly realized that not all long travel 29ers are created equal. It's a matter of deciding what characteristics are most important to you in a bike, and going from there. To make things a little easier, here's a quick breakdown of where the aforementioned bikes work best. Racing: this category goes to the Slash and the SB 5.5. They both have very different personalities on the trail, but the common denominator is just how fast they feel. For extremely rough courses, the Whistler EWS for instance, the Slash is the way to go, while the SB 5.5 would be a worthy choice for tracks where the GNAR factor isn't quite as high. DH performance: the Sentinel and the Pole earn high marks here, with stability in spades, and tough aluminum frames that can take a beating. The Enduro 29 and the Slash are also worth considering, but for riders who are almost entirely focused on descending, the geometry of the Sentinel and the Pole puts them on top. All-rounder: the Hightower LT earned high marks as a Deutal machine, and its excellent pedaling performance makes it well suited to long days in the saddle. A 160mm fork helps improve its downhill performance, although it can still get a little overwhelmed in the really rough stuff compared to stiffer and slacker options. The Wheeze 150 is also a worthy entrant into this category, and although it's not quite a calm when pedaling compared to the Hightower LT, it's not far off.